This is a video for a 2010 Honda Civic 2.2 diesel. This is the SI variant. Car's registered NA10OVJ. Mileage currently on the car is 64,481 miles. This road test should follow on in due course from a walk-around appraisal of the car, which gives an inside appraisal as well. The purpose of the test drive is, the reason is basically we're selling to customers from all over the near continent and the UK, who clearly are investing a huge amount of time and effort to come and see us and our cars, and we feel it's right that we should give them the confidence of coming that kind of distance to us to know that if there's any issues with the car, we can let you know about it on video, but also you can actually see the actual car you're looking to come and see driving as you'll intend to drive it. What I try and do on these videos also is just to go through the kind of driving and checks that you'll do when you come and see the car, and in that regard what I normally do is start with the engine, go through the gearbox, clutch and the main controls. First and foremost, obviously this is the CTDi diesel engine, 2.2, typical of its breed. It's a lovely unit, very smooth in operation. It starts on the dot every time, no smoke from the back, settles to a very controlled and very subdued idle, very even idle, so there's no issues at all. The engine pulls absolutely beautifully, it really does. It's got instant throttle response, very sweet engine note. It is the modified unit on these now. They kind of did a few alterations on the engine and the mechanicals when they did the 2009 upgrade, of which obviously this is one of the cars. But a really nice engine. It pulls very well. And it's as good as any of the diesels I've ever driven, so in that regard you can be absolutely confident the car drives beautifully. Obviously the engine drives through the clutch and this 6-speed gearbox. The gearbox is absolutely beautiful. It's this lovely kind of slick, such a crisp, nice gear change to use. Honda have really mastered gearboxes, always have been really good at them. What's made it harder for a lot of manufacturers to get that nice feel is the fact that most of these gearboxes now are cable operated, and that sometimes that can mean you end up with a kind of it's slightly vague gearboxes, slightly lifeless, and they don't feel in any way mechanical, which is what makes them so nice to use generally. Honda got this down to an art. It's a beautiful gearbox to use. Every gear finds its way home, no issues, no hint of anywhere in any of the in the synchromesh of the gearbox, and no noise at all from the transmission. So in that regard, absolutely spot on. The clutch bites beautifully well. It bites at exactly the right points on the clutch pedal itself. It's not right at the bottom, not right at the top. It's kind of in between the two, which is where you'd want it to be. Obviously the other two would suggest there's wear in the system somewhere. Pedal itself operates without any squeaks or clicks or graunches at all. So in terms of the powertrain of the engine, the mechanical hardware, you can rest assured it drives absolutely as Honda intended to, and I've driven very low mileage cars which drive exactly the same as this one. On from there we go through the steering and the chassis. Steering's really lovely and direct on these Civics. It's got it's very quick, without being too sharp, and it's not sort of slovenly, so you can go around sort of tight bends without having to cross your arms over. And I can't feel anything back through the steering wheel apart from what I should feel, obviously, which is the road. There's no tremors, no vibrations, no matter what speed I drive at. It just doesn't feel like there's any wear further down in the system, like track rods or ball joints or steering rods or anything like that. The suspension itself goes about its business very quietly indeed. it's, there's nothing underneath the car that suggests that, again, there's any wear of any note under there at all. It's very, very smooth indeed. What I love about the Civics is, they're a very dynamic car to drive. It's not, you get into a lot of these family hatches, and they can be, they're very good, worthy cars, but there's not a lot of fun in driving them around. Whereas the Civic, it does deliver, extraordinary performance. It's, the engine, a few years ago would have been sort of hot hatch levels of performance, but then you're looking at 50 miles to the gallon as well. It's very easily achieved. But in all of that, this is a lovely example to drive. Rest of the car, when I drive along, I try and listen out for things like the wind hiss or intrusion from, what could be sort of a window seal or a windscreen not fitted quite right. And again, this car exhibits none of that at all. Inside the car, plastics are in really fine order. This obviously, again, being a 2010 car, so this has all the interior revisions. So around the dashboard you've got new textures and higher quality fittings as well, and it really does make a difference. There's not a hint of a squeak or groan in the car when I'm driving along. All the trims down the driver's edges here are now remanufactured in a sort of slightly darker and less wear prone material. But just looking at the whole dashboard itself, it is in very, very, very nice condition. It's not even been valeted yet, so it's a very good sign. Going across the dashboard, obviously, if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know exactly what I think. I love these dashboards. It's not style over function. It's not function over style. It's got both. It's a work of art to look at, especially at night when it's all illuminated. It looks absolutely fantastic. But it's you've got this lovely two-tier dashboard, high up speedo readout, which means you can take in the speedo absolutely instantaneously. Whilst I'm looking at the car in front now, I know exactly the speed I'm going. I don't have to lower my head to take in that information, which can be obviously quite critical, to avoid any accidents or otherwise. Just down below that, we've got the main binnacle itself with this really big dominating rev counter. Really easy to assimilate that information. In the middle of that, kind of like a hologram effect, comes out this information display, which gives you a variety of information you may want to take on the car at any given time. To the right, fuel gauge. To the left, temperature gauge of the car, which at the moment is exactly where it wants to be, which is around about a third of the way up, which is where you'd want on a Civic. No warning lights illuminated at all. The car's completely free of those. All the switch gear that I can see and touch is in absolutely perfect working order. It works brilliantly. There's no wear in any of the dials. It all works really crisply. No sort of grubbiness to it, which is really nice. Really simple to use. You've got climate control system just on this side here, and then just to the left of that, you've got this lovely big, really simple to use radio CD unit. So it's it's a joy to drive these cars. They've become enormously popular, not just because they're really, really, really good cars to drive, but there are other good cars to drive. Not suggesting for a second there isn't. But what the Civic gives you is a combination of pretty much everything. It's really good to drive. It delivers amazing performance, but with incredible economy. But also on top of that, you've got Honda's build quality and reliability. These engines don't have any DPF filters, which is causing horrendous problems for customers and the trade alike. Engines going into limp mode and not running right, and DPF filters haven't been changed, and then people try to bypass them, so you don't know what you're getting. And it's putting warning lights on which would fail MOTs. It's a nightmare for people, but there's none of that in there. There's no cam belts on these Hondas either. It's a cam chain, so there's no scheduled change for that at all. And they have an incredibly solid reputation for reliability as well. They just take quite enormous mileages in their stride. We've had them, running in sort of Honda Accords, so as local taxis with, huge mileages. Just to go on to the brakes of the car, brakes absolutely beautifully. It's got a lovely solid brake pedal. It's nice and firm without being kind of over assisted. Well done. There's no vibrations back through the pedal when you hit the brake pedal, which suggests the brake pads and discs are all in very good order. But overall, I said, if there's something I could fault the car for, I certainly would, and I do in some of my other videos. I've mentioned if there's something, a bit of wear, or I can feel something back through the car. But this drives really nicely. So you can come and view it with absolute confidence. It's been very well looked after car, so it doesn't come as any great surprise. So, but in essence, it is a very fine example. So I hope the video has been of some use to you, as brief as it may be, and the previous walk around video. If there's something I've missed out in any of that, or the text of the advert, then please do call and we can check it for you. But just be assured that if you are coming any kind of distance to us, that the car drives exactly as it should. I'm going to just carry on for a few seconds longer, just so you can hear the car in silence without me yakking on in the background.